Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Tuesday Breakfast Bankroll for December 13th, 2022. 12 days till Christmas, 18 days till the new year. It's our weekly trip over the Sagamore Bridge, down Route 3, onto 93 with our good friend and colleague, Mr. Julian Edlow of DraftKings. We're going to talk some locals. Big win for the Pats last night as they defeat the Arizona Cardinals. Reality, Celtics, they look like champs early by just destroying the Suns. And then who's your daddy against Golden State? And the Clippers said, hey, boys, we're here too. And then now they got to play the Lakers, who might be chomping at the bit here. So this West Coast trip here, really the great start from the Celtics. If you pit her here, maybe we're not as good as we thought we are. But anyways, that's for another subject. But let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Julian Edlow.
Good morning. How we doing?
Good morning, Julian. How are you?
Hanging in there. Solid Monday for me. I needed the Celtics for the clean sweep. Didn't get there, but don't want to start the week too hot. Anytime I have a red hot Monday, the rest of the week just goes downhill. So staying humble.
And for me, when I have those bad Mondays, I always seem to go down. We were on, the heater of heaters, 25 and 6.
Bad Mondays are a good thing.
Yeah.
Mondays, then you go up the rest of the week.
Exactly. So
Hot Mondays, you got to watch out for.
We had one game yesterday that didn't get there. The NHL last night, all unders but one. But again, I'm not here to talk pucks with you. So we're going to start with the Patriots, a game that I think they closed around 2.5. Third play in, Kyler Murray goes down. Non-contact injury, which we don't like to see. Next thing you know, Devontae Parker goes down. Then Stevenson goes down. Little grab ass through the first half. Another blow up from Mac Jones to Matt Patricia. Get the lead, and the defense shined. Thoughts on the Pats and what you saw last night?
I thought that was a gotta-have-it spot for the Patriots. The Patriots were my biggest NFL play of the weekend. On the money line, and they came through. It wasn't necessarily as smooth as I thought, though. It took the game. The start to that game was just choppy. Obviously, the Murray thing kind of takes the wind out of the sails for everyone, and then Parker gets off to a good start, clearly concussed. Stevenson, who's been the workhorse for them on offense, goes down, and things started to spiral a little bit. They put it together with the running game, with the backup rookie running backs to get back in. But then when it felt like things were going to come undone, they get a gift from DeAndre Hopkins running around with it in one hand and bring it back to the house and, can kind of open it up with that one big pass play to Hunter Henry down the seam. I don't know what took them so long to start going to Hunter Henry. Arizona ranks 32nd out of 32nd in basically anything covering the tight end position that you want to measure. And they wouldn't go there until it was like desperation time. But I guess credit for finding it. You saw Jones and Patricia had a moment kind of celebrating things working for a change. So, yeah, that felt like, against quality competition, the Patriots don't get that game. They're not able to put it together like that. They don't get the gift from Hopkins. But the reason I backed them in this game was the coaching matchup, the soft Arizona defense, and the offensive stuff with Arizona you can kind of throw out the window given Murray's status. But it was a got to have it spot for the Patriots to show up, and they did. Now it's a curious spot on the short week, staying out west with the look ahead spot that they had to Josh McDaniels. Like coaching wise, Josh McDaniels is maybe the worst coach in the league right now. So you got to want to take the Patriots. You can't take the Raiders. It's Patriots or pass, but can you take the Patriots on a short week staying out west? Josh McDaniels was maybe in a look ahead spot against the Rams. You know, he wants to show up against Belichick, how much that's meant to him throughout his career when he's faced Belichick. So I don't have much of a feel. I wanted to bet him against Arizona, and I don't have much of a feel for the next one. But for their playoff hopes, the next one is huge, because if you drop that, now you're kind of backed in the middle of the pack. Whereas if you can beat Vegas, now you've kind of taken control of one of these wild card spots that they are currently in. They're number 7. They would go to Kansas City right now and probably see similar results to what they saw in Buffalo last January.
You hit so many key points there. For me, the last week of my fantasy before the playoffs, I was going against the Patriots defense on one, and I had Marquise Brown on the other. And the sad thing is that fumble by Hopkins gives them a quick 6 points, and then sack. I was in, and then a sack. I was out. I got the 15-yard completion of Marquise Brown, which put me back in. That was called back because of a false start. So I lose because of the fumble and the Patriots defense there. A team in such turmoil. I mean, when you dissect that Arizona, you look at the false starts, the illegal shifts, already the turmoil between head coach, between Murray to Hopkins. And these guys are extended now through 27, 28, the head coach, the quarterback, and the GM. Outside looking in, and now here we are in New England in Bill we trust. If you were a business owner for Arizona, what the hell would you do?
I would make a coaching move, and that's tough, even though it's all locked up. I don't think Kyler Murray is the problem. We saw him have success last year. Now you need to figure out, as Colt McCoy or somebody else, the Band-Aid that's going to get you to mid-season or whatever it takes for Kyler Murray to get healthy. So you kind of got to rebuild. This year turns completely into what pieces are you keeping and what pieces are you kind of stripping apart. And what are you going to do with this high draft pick that you're going to get? So Arizona's in a tough spot that got tougher last night with the Murray injury, but I don't think that means he's not your guy. And you got a great wide receiver 1 in DeAndre Hopkins. Like I think they have good things there. They have talent there, but they need to shore up that defense, and I would make a head coaching change. The problem is you got to eat so much money to do that. It's just tough timing to do, just like the Raiders and Josh McDaniels, who they're going to see next.
If that was the move you're going to make, are you just an open checkbook, and would you hand it to Sean Payton?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't love these questions because, like, what would you do if you were a billionaire? Like, I guess if I was a billionaire that owned a football team, I would think that's pretty cool. And sure, I would open my checkbook and make big hires, big signings, because that sounds fun. But I'm not a billionaire, and I don't know if I'm going to open my checkbook when you have that much money invested in the coach, and now you're going to have to invest big money in the next one. Like, that's the situation the Raiders are in with everything they had to pay Gruden, and then they break the bank for McDaniels, and it's not working out, and it seems like a good time theoretically to move on. But you owe 2 coaches millions of dollars. Can you do that? So these are questions I don't know how to answer. What are the billionaires going to do with their money? But you know, from a pure football standpoint, Arizona needs some changes in scheme.
100. I didn't mean to throw you that soft curve.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't mean to turn it down, but it's just like, I don't know what people are going to do with that much money. Like how much do these look at the Red Sox right now with their money? They've clearly decided that money and not paying a guy like Bogarts what they could have paid him is worth it to them. Whereas in my mind, if you have that much money and before the season get a more reasonable deal done than he got in San Diego, paying your star players, your franchise players, particularly homegrown, is going to help your business model, particularly in a place like Boston that cares, for a franchise that cares and has a good fan base.
The Patriots right now, I saw, I'll just double check for you so I'm not giving you a false number. I thought I saw minus
Yeah,
one
right?
foot.
Or is it minus one now?
They opened at 1 and 44.5. It's basically 1 and 44.5. So this morning, like you said, they were set up for 6-6, 2 games. They're staying out west. If they can come back 8-6, they're set up not with an easy schedule. Obviously, I know they got the Bills and the Bengals off the top of my head. Let me ask you this question. You cashed last night with the Patriots. Is that now an auto play for you? Hey, I'm just going to hit the money line today before it goes to 1.5, 2, or are you going to sit and wait and watch where that line goes?
In terms of betting the Patriots?
Yes.
Oh, I'm definitely not just like riding the Patriots the rest of the way out. I don't trust them at all. That was a specific spot and matchup that I wanted to target. And just thinking off the top of my head, unless I decide I do want to fade McDaniels and bet them again in a pick 'em type of game on Sunday, which I'll take my time on. I want to see how this week goes for them out there. I don't know if I'll back the Patriots again this season. Can't think of a spot where I would necessarily back them.
I 100% agree with you. I'm going to change gears here, and it's, we have you on every Tuesday. It's probably my favorite spot of the week here. And the Celtics and the Bruins, I think at 1.1 now they have 2 combined losses at the Garden. The Celtics in overtime and the Bruins in overtime. An amazing start for the Celtics. Let's be honest. Gallinari gets hurt. No Time Lord. In comes Brogdon, and this team just is off and running. Go out west, and they just put a thrashing on the Suns, the number 1 seed last year. Circled Saturday for Golden State, and Golden State said not so fast. They have now beaten the Celtics 5 out of the last 7 games. Clippers last night, we expect to bounce back. It wasn't there, and now they don't have to leave the floor, and in come the Lakers. And it was funny, the commentators throughout that game were saying, hey, I wonder if the Lakers, who are playing a lot better, are seeing this and take it from a Celtics perspective and from a fan perspective here. You lose to Golden State, you lose to the Clippers. Now, if you lose to the Lakers, what are you thinking, Julian?
It wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be the end of the world, because when you come out as hot as they came out, you're going to have a 3-game losing streak at some point in time. And if it's some point in time, losing out west to the Warriors, Clippers, and Lakers isn't the worst 3-game losing streak that you can have. But it would be a little concerning. You don't want them to, peak too early, or not necessarily that term, but just use too much of their gas early in the season on what they did. You want to make sure that they're preserved for their playoff run. So I'm not going to put too much stock in this Lakers game. As usual, I lean to the Celtics coming off a couple losses. The Lakers are coming back. First game home off a long East Coast trip. That can generally be a tough spot. So I don't know if I'll bet it. I don't know if I trust the Celtics right now. They might be just done with this trip and not necessarily prepared for this game. So I don't really know where they're at right now. But Clippers loss doesn't concern me that much. Clippers have been so-so. They finally get Kawhi back. It's kind of a statement spot for them to show that they're still in the mix and can be part of this, and they can. The one that I don't like for the Celtics is Saturday night. Even though you're coming off the 50-point whatever win or 50-point lead against the Suns, whatever it was at, they did have that spot circled. Jaylen Brown said we had this spot circled, and we played like we had it circled. They weren't themselves in that game, which I thought was concerning. I wanted to see something from them in that game, and I backed them in that game. So I think that I want to see more when Golden State comes into Boston. I think that might be a Thursday night next month. And I want to see them do on this upcoming homestand what they did on the previous one. We know they can win on the road despite these last couple of losses. and we'll get back to that later. But like, they're going to play the Lakers on Tuesday night. Then they come home and play the Magic on Friday and Sunday, and then they're home for the rest of the month. They should rip off a winning streak there. I'll be back on the first half team total overs that I was playing at home that I did not play on this road trip. It started 3-1. Didn't get there last night. Obviously, they didn't even crack 100 last night. So 3-2 on the trip. Lakers play kind of fast. I could see it getting there tonight, but we'll kind of reset on the Celtics on this homestand. I don't think I would say like, oh, they're back if they rip off a big home winning streak. I kind of expect that. So if they don't do that, I would be concerned.
It was funny when we talk in August, September, as we're getting ready for the NBA tip-off, the futures market, and, Golden State, the initial favorite as the champs, the Celtics right there, the Bucks right there. The one team lying in the weeds was this Clippers team, and we sit there scratching our head.
They were the overall favorites at one point in time.
Correct. And we got a little taste of that last night. When healthy, which is the biggest when in the history of mankind, because how many times do we see Paul George and Kawhi on the court at the same time? They are 8 or 9 deep. I know it's just a little sample sizing, but I always say, why is that number there? Is it the sharps? Is it the wise guys? Is it Vegas saying, hey, listen, if this team is healthy come March, April, May, and June, there's no team on the planet that can compete with this team. Any hint of Julian saying, I don't have that ticket in my ensemble here that would make you maybe go to the window just to add that to your portfolio?
Who am I adding? Celtics or Clippers?
The Clippers.
Clippers? Yeah, no, I think the Clippers are a good ad. The way that the West stands right now, I think that the Clippers, again, if healthy, should win it. The only thing that prevents me necessarily from adding it, I don't know if you need to, because Kawhi's going to rest. Him and Paul George get dinged up all the time. Like, I feel like they're going to be in the middle of the pack, and you can kind of ride it out with them through the regular season. Make sure that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard don't have any serious injuries entering the postseason, and then get a similar number at that point. So that would be my outlook with them. Golden State kind of showed on Saturday night that they can just mess around and then turn it on when they need to. So that's always scary. So I would say the Warriors and Clippers are probably the two best teams in the West. I don't put the Suns there necessarily after what we saw last year. So maybe this is the year that we get Clippers and Golden State to determine the Western Conference. I think that would be good.
Are you buying Zion?
I am. I was high on the Pelicans coming into this year. The only win total that I bet for NBA and the only yes/no playoffs was Pelicans to make the playoffs. Pelicans over 44.5 wins. Pelicans alternate over 48.5 wins, and I think they're on like a 54 or so pace right now. So they're in good shape. I think that they're this year's Grizzlies kind of. They're going to have a good record, have a high seed, and then we'll see what type of matchup they get in the postseason. But they can make noise. Like, they can threaten a Clippers or Golden State type of team. Ultimately, I don't think they're ready yet to win that type of series. But they'll be a fun team all year and be a fun team in the playoffs.
Back east, Celtics, Bucks, obviously. Brooklyn starting to cook with a little Crisco. Philly, Toronto, simmering. I've talked at length, and I know you feel the same way. I think you do, at least. That Miami team, if Butler's healthy, they're not afraid of the Celtics. And so back east, your eyes still just concentrating on the big two, or is there anything that, Cleveland, good young team. I think they're a year or two away. Anyone future or any piece of information you might want to, add to the east side?
Nothing that I'm necessarily betting at the moment. I would just say that my power ratings in the East would be Celtics, Bucks, Cavs in terms of the most dangerous teams. I think Cleveland's for real with Mitchell. They have a lot of good pieces to go around him. And then after that is when, let's see, in terms of health and standings, where teams like Philly and Miami and Brooklyn wind up. But they would be in the second tier to me, below Celtics, Milwaukee, Cleveland, in that order.
College hoops, I know it's December. I follow your work. I follow your timeline. I'm just going to throw the soft lob. You know, I'm a Yukon guy. One daughter has graduated. One daughter I have to go pick up Thursday before the snow for Christmas break. I am shocked that they came out this guns are blazing this early. I thought they'd be doing this in February, March. I think they're at 3. Our little joke with our colleague Matt Peralta, who's a big Creighton guy who has now lost 5 in a row. Now, June, July, that 40-1 ticket, that 35 to 130 looks great. Listen, if you're going to lose 5 in a row, let's lose it in December. Let's regroup. Let's get into conference play. We'll be fine. How's your college hoops working out? What are your eyes seeing?
Yeah, I got some Creighton 40-1 as well. And I have Creighton to win the Big East, which I don't feel as good about. It was more of I knew Villanova wasn't going to be the same, although they're coming on a little bit with Cam Whitmore. This is the first time Villanova's had, like a lottery pick type of freshman on their team. And he's helping them out. It's not going to be Villanova. I thought it would be Creighton. Maybe it will when they get healthy. Mm-hmm. But UConn seems to be the better team, and that's probably an ad that I need to make to win the regular season Big East. I didn't expect them to be this good. I expected them to be solid. They've been terrific. They're blowing everybody out. It's probably because they got a fantastic coach that they stole from the University of Rhode Island. And I'm high on UConn. I like them. Not a great Super Tuesday card though. We got Memphis, Bama tonight, but not your typical Super Tuesday. I'll toss you a college basketball though. I'm going to put this out on Twitter and when we're done, probably. UMass Lowell is at the University of Rhode Island. It's like a pick'em type game. UMass Lowell is -115 money line. UMass Lowell is the best team in the New England area. If you take out Connecticut, they went to UMass and won. They have a couple other good wins on there. URI has been dreadful. This is UMass Lowell is going to go to Kingston, Rhode Island and beat URI tonight. So throw that on the card.
It's funny. We gave out when we were breaking down the closing bell, me and Riley on that game, I gave out the UMass Lowell at UMass, and I'm glad you spot on. I think the roadie still sulking about their coach. Just, they
already, they tried with David Cox. That didn't work. And he was getting all the DMV transfers from that region because he was a Maryland guy or DC guy, and then they made the switch to Archie Miller, which I'm okay with. We'll see how that goes in time, but all those Virginia, Maryland, DC guys that Cox got on the roster all left because they were there for him and he's gone. So ugly. It's going to be an ugly rebuild.
TJ shouts out, what about Stonehill? Listen, TJ, your Stonehill team's playing good ball. I'm keeping an eye on them. Give them a year or two. You'll be fine there. I guess I'm going to transition to the Final Four. It's been a week since we talked about it. Any tickets that you've bought? Did you take a look at, maybe just taking the Georgia minus the 130? Are you buying in on Michigan, Ohio State futures, or are you just still going to wait and let this one simmer?
Yeah, I haven't bet much for the college football playoff. I do think that Georgia ultimately wins it. I think they have a gear that the rest of the teams don't have. I think when it comes to the Ohio State game, Georgia is just a better Michigan, and we just saw Michigan pound Ohio State at Ohio State. This one is now in Atlanta, practically a home game for Georgia. They've been destroying teams at their neutral site Atlanta games. So I think Georgia at -125 on DK Sportsbook. I think we might have the best price up. Don't quote me on that. I haven't checked it, but I see a lot of 130s, 140s. I'm going to put out Georgia to win it all. I think they're going to get through Ohio State, and then what would it be? Probably a very similar 7 type of line against Michigan, and you've got them at -125 on the money line going into that game. You can take Michigan +7 if you want. Try and go for a little middle, hedge off on some money line. Georgia just looks like they have a gear that these other teams don't have, in a year that had a lot of down teams for a lot of these big programs. that we saw in college football.
Are you surprised that the number was so short, the opening number, or did you think that was a fair number?
No, that's about what I thought it would be. In the 6.5 obviously means they kind of want some Georgia money. So Ohio State is going to be the sharp side of that game to keep it within a touchdown. They could. They definitely could. They're 11-1, and now we're all down on them because of one loss, and it's because of how the loss looked. So they'll certainly be up for this game and dialed in, plenty of prep time and whatnot. But Georgia's been there, done that. I don't know. I mean, Utah put up whatever, like 50 on them in the Rose Bowl last year in the postseason, if you want to call it postseason. I just think Georgia's going to put up points. Like, they put up 50 on LSU. They could have kept going. They played this game in Atlanta against Oregon. That was whatever, 49-3. I have a tough time seeing Ohio State hang, and CJ Stroud has looked more and more human as these games have gone on. Ohio State's opponent is in all these games in the fourth quarter. So I think that Georgia is going to ultimately wind up being the right side. I'm just laying the -125 to win it all. I'm not going to lay any points in this game.
As we close here, as you got another show going, it's funny. I did a show before this show, and my eyes were deceiving me. I was looking for a number. I'm like, oh, what is San Fran off this week? And obviously, they're playing Thursday night as the Brock Purdy show now goes on the road to Seattle, who came off an upset loss to the Panthers. I'm going to give you the stage here. I know it's only Tuesday morning. Is there anything in that San Fran Seattle game? Is there a boost or something where your brain's going? Maybe on the DK Sports, where everyone watching and listen might be able to go on Thursday to go make a play at DraftKings Sportsbook, or a prop or something that you're looking to do.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some kind of boost run for Thursday night football per usual. For the game, I'm a little mad at the look ahead was San Fran -1, and I was considering it, but I ultimately couldn't do it. We had to see what Brock Purdy looked like. It's a short week in division on the road for a rookie quarterback. Like, that's kind of tough. And now Purdy's dinged up. He's day-to-day. He'll play, I would assume, but he is dinged up. So strong lean to San Francisco. Ultimately, like, we just saw the Panthers stick it to Seattle. I know that gives them a bounce back spot, whereas it's a letdown spot for a rookie quarterback beating Tom Brady in his first start. But San Francisco just kind of wins on defense. They run the ball, and those things are not good for what Seattle does. So if it's not I would love San Francisco -3. But if it's not San Francisco, it's probably maybe a Christian McCaffrey rushing prop. I played Donta Foreman for the Panthers, over 65.5 yards. On Sunday, he was in the 70s, got there late, and that was with Hubbard having a big game as well. So McCaffrey probably has a pretty solid game, particularly if Purdy's dinged up, protecting him on the short road division week. So I would expect a big game on the ground from San Francisco.
And it's funny to circle all the way back. You talked about Hunter Henry. On the bell yesterday, Riley gives out a Patriots defensive score as his prop, and I gave out for the Patriots side Hunter Henry, who finally is right down the seam. He's got him, and of course, two safeties converge. If that was Kels or Kittles, they would have been able to stumble and bumble in, but they get stopped on the 3. It was kind of comical on my side. So, Julian, we can't thank you enough. That scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone knows where to find you. If you're not following this kid, please do. Go to Twitter at Julian Edlow, at DraftKings, at DK Sportsbook, DK Live. Go listen to the Unreasonable Odd podcast. Julian, thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll be talking soon.
Sounds good. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Take care, Julian. The one and only Julian Edlow. If you are not following him, please do run over to DraftKings. And guys, if you haven't downloaded, which I think most people in the world that play fantasy sports have downloaded the DraftKings app. If you haven't, please do. And on the top there, you will see DK Sportsbook. Download the app. He's got a million props up there. A great way to shop some odds. Even if you can't bet and use it, you still can window shop to get an idea of what their odds are versus your shop and some other big sports books around the world. Later today, 3:30, Ron from Ron A Sports. We will be live from LA, our weekly college football and NFL check-in. And then at 4:30, myself and Riley will be there from the closing bell. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Julian Edlow at Julian Edlow /DraftKings, DraftKings Sportsbooks. We wish everyone a great, great morning. We will see you soon this afternoon and later at the closing bell. See you soon.